ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануєм ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду.
Hello everybody, it's Jeff. Everybody doing okay out there? It's a splendid, sparkling day here today in Maine. Not a cloud in the sky, it's not even cold, it's like in the 50s, and there's a little breeze, and hell, I didn't even wear my damn coat. I went outside today to do some stuff, and it was just too warm to wear a friggin' coat or a jacket, so I was walking around with a short sleeve shirt on. So yes, it was very nice out today, and I was glad that we finally get a break. Of course, the rest of the week doesn't look like it'll be as nice. It's actually going to get worse as the week goes on, but that's the way it is in this Maine. You get 1, maybe 2 days of good weather, and then the rest of the week you're going to pay for it in kind. That's how it goes. So, I was doing some reading here online, and I see that there's an article here that's talking about how there's going to be there's stores that are in trouble right now, businesses, and some might even close before the end of the year. So, I'm going to read this for you. This article is from Fansided. There's famous brands that are really close to bankruptcy in 2022. This was published, last month on the 23rd, I guess. And it was originally published by bobshideout.com. One of the stores that are in dire straits here is Party City. I don't think we have one of those here in Maine. I don't know. I mean, I know we don't have one in Bangor, but if there's one in your area, they're having some trouble here. It says it was founded in 1986 by Steve Mandel in New Jersey. The retail chain company owns almost 1,000 party stores all over North America, and can be easily found on the list of the largest retail companies selling party goods in the US, Mexico, and Canada. Okay. Unfortunately, the harshness of the retail industry hasn't spared Party City, as the company has barely been able to succeed due to serious net losses. In recent years, Party City has decided to close about 45 stores in order to attempt to fight the decrease in sales. So, party stores, I don't know. I mean, to me, they don't seem like something that a lot of people want to, or shop at. Okay, I mean, I realize that there's a birthday every day in America. Okay, and there's all kinds of holidays, but the truth is, and I've been to these, to these party stores, and a lot of stuff in there ain't that cheap. Okay, sometimes the things are a little bit overpriced, and you could probably find some of the stuff in there at another place for half the price. Okay. So I don't know about, I mean, the party store is sort of like, like Toys R Us, these box stores that are really they're only there for one thing. And it seems to me like these kind of stores aren't making it very well. Like GameStop, there was a GameStop in the Bangor Mall, which they just closed, okay, because they had two of them. There's a GameStop across the street on Stillwater, and then they had the other one across the street at the mall. It's like, well, why would you have these two stores so close together? It doesn't make any sense. So naturally, one of them had to close. So they shut down the one at the mall. But GameStop is as a store, like I said, that is like that, a box store. They only sell like one kind of thing, and that's it. Now, the one that they left open sells more than just video games. They also have collectibles in there, which I think is the reason why that one stayed open, because the other one did not. All they sold was video games, and frankly, you never saw hardly anybody in there. As any of the times that I can recall going into the mall, which it hasn't been recent, but when I'd always walk by there just seemed to be maybe one customer in there at any, and that would be it. Or the employees in there would just be goofing off and not doing anything because there's nobody there. It's like one of those damn cell phone stores that are, you see in the store, and there's like nobody doing anything in there because there's nobody in there. It's just, those kind of stores don't seem to really do well anymore. And I think in a lot of cases, video games these days is a whole different monster than it used to be. A lot of these video games that people are playing now are done online. They don't require many people having to go get a game system and playing these things at home. They can just get on their computers and log into a game website, and they just play this shit on it, like Star Trek Online. It's the same thing. It's not a video game that you can go buy in a store to go with a system. It's something that you can play right on your computer. Okay. Of course, I wouldn't recommend anybody using their computer to play video games unless you've got some damn computer with more memory than you'd ever possibly use in your lifetime, because these games are getting more and more advanced, and they take a lot more megabytes, more gigabytes, more, you know what I'm saying? They're just way too data full, to be able to, to use at home. So, like I said, these that's the way the game systems are done now, the way people play these video games. So the days of the console kind of game systems, like, we had, Nintendo and Xbox and, all these other ones, those days I think are kind of coming to an end as people beef up the internet to do more things than they used to do back in the time. So another couple of places here that's suffering is Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. Family Dollar was founded in 1959 by a young entrepreneur named Leon Levine. He was only 21 at the time. The variety store chain is spread all over the U.S. and can be found in more than 8,000 locations in the country. In 2014, the company was bought by Dollar Tree for a whopping $8.5 billion. Even though the company is the second largest of its kind in the U.S., it announced to the world that about 400 stores across the nation are about to close. This happened as a result of an activist investor's pressure and has put both companies on the brink of bankruptcy. Okay. Dollar Tree. Well, Dollar Tree isn't really a dollar anymore now, right? It's sort of, what, $1.75? Everything in there is a little over $1 now. thing about Dollar Tree is they do have some good choices in there to buy really cheap. But depending on which store you go to, some Dollar Trees have a hard time restocking, getting things more. You know what I'm saying? Once they run out of something that they were selling, it takes them forever to get more of it. So I don't know if that has anything to do with this here or whatever. But you know, it seems to me like these days people are really depending more on these kind of businesses and stuff like that to stretch the dollar. You know, it gives people options. You know, I mean, if you want to buy something and not pay through the nose for it, you can get it at Dollar Tree. Maybe some generic brand of something or what have you. That would be, you know, a better option than just, you know, going without. And they do have medicines in there and stuff that people, I mean, sometimes, you know, like Theraflu, they have that in there in smaller quantities, but you can get it, and you know, and for less than paying for full price for, you know, whatever you're getting at a regular store. Because some of those medicines that, you know, like Theraflu, they're really expensive, you know. So if you try to, you know, if you want to buy some of that stuff in a regular grocery store, you're going to pay about $8 to $10 for a box of that shit, and that's a lot. But Dollar Tree might have, you know, a pack of 4 or something like that for like less than half that price. So I mean, it's just, you know, or Family Dollar rather, might have it for less. I don't know why these stores can get that stuff, you know, at lesser amounts. I don't know why, you know, other stores don't offer the same. But you know, if you can get less and, you know, and still pay less, you can afford it. You know, that's better. Gap. Gap is a worldwide clothing and accessory store founded by Doris and Donald Fisher in '69. The American retailer is the largest of its kind in the U.S. and the third world wide. Just so we have an idea of how huge an empire Gap is, in 2008 the retailer had about 135,000 employees while operating over 3,727 stores. Jesus. I always figured that place was just too damn expensive. Yet success does come at a great cost sometimes, and Gap has recently been facing some bumps on the road. The business announced that it would be splitting up some of its primary divisions, including Old Navy. Since then, they have closed about 230 stores. Yeah. Gap never sold any damn thing that I could that I could buy. But I don't think that Gap is really for everybody. I think it's a store for younger people. You know, you're not going to find stuff in there for big and tall people in a place like that. So that's no sweat off my brow. Overstock was founded by entrepreneur Robert Brazel back in '97, but only 2 years after it was resold to Patrick Burney. The company sells furniture, home decor items, bedding, several other goods that are classified as merchandise. And the business did well over the years, with 2009 being a particularly wow year. Overstock announced that the business had achieved a profit of about $7.7 million. But even though Overstock is an online retailer, it has also been going through harsh times lately. Just recently, the company saw growing debt and a drop in revenues. Office Depot, another seemingly leading company. Office Depot has been around since '86, founded by 3 business partners, Stephen Dougherty, Patrick Scher, and Jack Kopkin. The company began doing well fairly quickly, and in 1986 it announced to the world that it was going public. However, like most companies on this list, harsh times also caught up with the well-established retailer. With the increase in competition from online retailers, Office Depot has seen a huge loss in sales of its office supplies in the past few years. You know, I don't think, really Office Depot is like, just, alone in this, because, you go by some of these other office stores and they don't really look like they're all that busy most of the time. You ever notice that? Trying to think of the one that we got here, and it's over by BAM Bookstore. Any time of the day you go by there, there's hardly anybody there shopping or buying stuff. So I don't know what it is. Are people getting these things cheaper online or something? Is that what it is? Or is it just the stores, they don't have good deals? I've been in these stores before, and they have a lot of good stuff for like people going to school, kids and stuff like that. But when you look at their computers and some of the more expensive items and stuff like that, it seems like they're asking a lot. And and when it comes to stuff like that, you always want to try the other places like Walmart or something like that for your electronic things. I mean, you don't really need to have the most expensive thing on the market to be able to use online if you're just using the stuff for at home for business purposes or whatever. Okay, if you're not a kid or anything like that, you don't really need to have a $300 laptop or something like that if you can get by with something like $180. So there's a lot of options out there that are less expensive than what you would probably find at one of these office specialty stores. Again, another box store that really isn't doing well because they just sell one kind of thing and that's it. Which it seems to be a trend nowadays. I mean, people aren't really shopping a lot in these box stores. What they're doing is they're going to where there's more bargains, or if it has to be online, like Amazon.com, which sells everything, or they go to Walmart or something like that. I mean, I think that's where people these days are wanting to do their shopping, is in stores that sell more than just the one thing. Okay, they want to go to these other stores because they seem, I think, from what I can tell, that they seem to have better prices, I suppose. Fred's, never heard of it. It shocked the business world and its customers when it announced that it was claiming bankruptcy. The retail company has been around since 1947, founded by three brothers, sons of Lebanese immigrants living in the U.S. The family-owned company was successful for several years until they dropped the devastating news. Since its bankruptcy announcement, the retailer has been regularly closing stores all over the U.S., selling over 185 pharmacies of a total 350. But there is still hope, as the company has recently hired a new financial advisor hoping to save the company somehow. Claire's. Many don't know that Claire's was bought by a company called Fashion Trees Industries back in '73, starting its journey to success. Back then, Fashion Trees was the highest fashion wigs retailer in the world, but when it acquired Claire's, it shifted its focus toward accessories and daily fashion jewelry. My girlfriend likes to shop here at Claire's. She was always in there. The company also began offering services like ear piercing in order to diversify its focus and income. Although the retailer did well amongst teens for years, teens, I guess he misspelt it. Retailer did well amongst teens for years. The style they offered seemed to stop in time due to that. In 2018, Claire's filed for bankruptcy. Probably because the customers, which were teens, are now, older, and that kind of stuff doesn't appeal anymore. Macy's. It's been in the market since 1858 after a visionary caller, Roland Hussey Macy, gave his dream a shot. The American department chain has grown to become pretty upscale, targeting a range of customers. In 2015, Macy's achieved a milestone when it became the biggest U.S. department store company thanks to its retail sales. But not all was sweets and roses for the retail company. In fact, apparently, the business has been struggling to stay afloat of bankruptcy, shrinking its number of stores and being hit really hard by their stocks. Macy's. You know, I have to laugh because I remember when Filene's moved over at the mall. Okay, Filene's. And it was there, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years, and then they closed. They left. And then they put Macy's in that spot. And I was thinking, well, Filene's was sort of like a Macy's, okay? And when it didn't do well, it was, you know, because it was very expensive in there. Macy's, you know, why Macy's would work over there, I don't know, okay? But Macy's, it's there, but I mean, excuse me, no. It was there, but what's happened is there's another company that moved into that spot where Macy's left, and they sell furniture, okay? Like we need another goddamn furniture store in this town, okay? The thing is about Macy's is that I don't know why anybody was thinking that store would do well here in Bangor, because Bangor is not a place where there's a lot of money around, okay? People are bargain shoppers in this town. They are not going to shop at a fucking Macy's if they, you know, because they know they'll never be able to afford what they buy. And if they try to buy something in there, it'll be on their credit card. They'll be forever paying the damn thing off. So people will get their items at some other place. And I just knew when they put Macy's there, I was going to say, yeah, I'm gonna take bets on how long that's going to stay there, because Filene's was really the proof right there that says Macy's doesn't belong here. I guess they never bothered to whoever was going to put a store there to really think, well, who was there before and how well did they do there, you know? And if they saw that, then they could have avoided putting their store there and having to, you know, uproot it, you know, a few years after. I just was surprised that they went ahead and put one there in the first place, because Macy's is not a store for Bangor, Maine, okay? Bangor, Maine is not New York City, okay? It just isn't. Macy's is a store you'd find in the big cities, not in the small towns, okay? It's, you know, let's be realistic here. Certain things belong where they belong. All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Dear CEO, what's it gonna take for you to do something? Yeah, do you even care?
Climate change affects all of us.
This is your chance to do something good.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better. Mentos fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
В Вашингтоне сказали вам, что ваш патриотический долг ненавидеть Владимира Путина. Многие американцы подчинились этой директиве. Ненависть к Путину стала центральной целью внешней политики Америки. Очень скоро эта ненависть может привести США к конфликту в Восточной Европе.
Почти так же, как военнослужащий ВСУ на репортера Fox News, на своих коллег срывается ведущий этого канала Такер Карлсон, а заодно и на всю администрацию Байдена.
Какие же мерзкие эти люди. И, конечно же, они продвигают войну, а не поддержку демократии. Украина не демократия, никогда ею не была. Это сателлит администрации Байдена.
So what is NATO and what is the purpose of NATO since the fall of the Soviet Union 30 years ago that NATO was designed as a bulwark against? Well, no one can answer that question, not one person. Imagine how we would feel if Mexico and Canada became satellites of China. Why do I care what's going on in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia? And I'm serious. Like, why do I care? And why shouldn't I root for Russia, which I am? Because
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. So another here on the list of stores that are in trouble, possibly going bankrupt, maybe even closing, is once again back on the list. JCPenney. Christ, it seems like every year they're in danger of getting their ass shellacked. JCPenney stores can be found all over the U.S. and Puerto Rico, owning store chains that are located in 865 places in 2 countries. The retailer sells a mix of conventional merchandise in addition to housing a number of department stores, including Seattle's Best Coffee, Auto Centers, Sephora, Optical Centers, amongst others. Let's see. As a strategy, the company has mostly located their stores and shopping malls in the middle of the suburbs, yet after a number of discouraging quarters, the retailer is now under $3.7 billion in debt. Wow, that's a lot of money there for JCPenney. Another store, again, on the friggin' shopping block here, or whatever, is Sears. In 1893, Alva Roebuck and Richard Warren Sears founded Sears, Roebuck and Company, but the company has become mostly known by the public as simply Sears. The business's retail store began opening in 1925, and in 1980, it reached its peak by becoming the largest retailer of its kind in the U.S. But that only lasted until Kmart and Walmart joined the game. Unfortunately, sales have been consistently decreasing over the years until 2018. Sears filed for bankruptcy. They have closed several stores since then. Yeah, I'm surprised they, since then, they haven't just closed up entirely. Because, what was it, Sears, they bought Kmart, if I remember correctly, and Kmart went under. They shut down the Kmart here in Bangor. But let me tell you something about fucking Kmart that was here in Bangor. The last time I was in Kmart, while it was still open, which was a few years back, not a thing in that store had been updated since the day it opened, which I think was back in 78, 79, if I'm not mistaken. So that Kmart building was pretty old. And since that time it opened, not a thing in that store was ever updated. The registers were still old style. The friggin' the racks they used in there were still the same. The jewelry counter was the same. This floor plan was the same. It had never changed at all. Okay, and I mean, it reeked of retro in that damn place. Well, all the other stores were updating their floor plans, their look on the inside. Kmart stayed right where it was. And I suppose that was a sign right there that Kmart just never had the money, really, to invest in their stores, unless there were other Kmarts out there that were just sucking up all the revenue and updating their stores all the time. The one we had here in Bangor just never did. It never did. And that place was always a pain in the ass to get out of when you buy something there, because the damn registers, I think because the registers were old, some of the things that, you know, people were using to pay stuff with, I just don't think would work on their stuff, even though, you know, people were paying with credit cards and stuff. I just think that, you know, they weren't updating the systems, you know, as they should have over the decades. And their electronics area was kind of old. You know, they were still selling stuff that wasn't really new anymore, but it was still priced as new. So I don't know what the hell it was with that store. I really don't. But it was around for a long time. The only good thing about it was that they would have good decorations for the seasons. You know, the holidays like Halloween, Christmas. They always had the best decorations for people in their homes and stuff like that. And they had clothes for big guys. That was the only place that I could buy stuff like that. You know, because, you know, I'm not a small man. They were the only store in Bangor that would sell stuff for my size. So it was good for me that way. Trying to think what else. They had, you know, some pretty decent watches in there, I think, you know, at the time when watches were still a thing. What else? I used to buy books in there sometimes, magazines, food. Sometimes they'd have some pretty good deals on food in there. Never really bought any movies in there or any TVs or video players or anything like that. Never did. I guess, you know, it was just a few things at a time I'd go in there to buy. I mean, I wasn't always in there all the time, you know what I'm saying? But if there was something specific that I needed and I knew Kmart would have it, that's where I would go. But of course, they'd have sales, and that was good too. But I think my mother was one that would shop there a lot. She knew when the sales were, and she was always in there all the time buying clothes and everything. So I think, you know, if you're a thrifty shopper, you would know about, you know, the benefits of going to Kmart to get stuff. So it was, for me, you know, because of this store that we had, which, you know, now is owned by an auto sales company here, Darlings. I don't know what they're doing with it. They bought that property, and it's just sitting there. You know, they got a few cars on the lot there that look like they're for sale, but they're not doing anything with the building, so I have no idea why Darlings bought that building or what the hell they're doing with it, but it's just sitting there now, so whatever. Anyway, another store, Neiman Marcus. The American luxury department store chain has been facing serious challenges in the last couple of years. Neiman Marcus is currently owned by Pension Plan Investment Board located in Toronto, Canada, and Ares Management located in Los Angeles. With its risky marketing changes and choices, the company has barely survived the decrease in interest in luxury department stores, even though they have recently reported some positive growth in sales that hasn't made up for the years they've been losing money. They now have a debt as large as $5 billion. Whew. Victoria's Secret was founded in '77 by Roy and Gay Raymond in California. The company has a funny story. About 10 years prior to their launch, Roy found himself feeling embarrassed and frustrated while buying his wife some lingerie. He then decided to study the market for nearly a decade until he and his wife borrowed 80 grand and founded their own store of beautiful but comfortable lingerie. But even Victoria's Secret has had its struggles, since the company's CEO made really controversial comments in relation to the trans community, and plus-size model sales have seriously decreased. Yeah, to the point where the one we had here in Bangor closed up here just, I think it was last year. But, you know, again, Victoria's Secret, there's been talk about the quality of their stuff going downhill even before that. Some people are saying that a lot of the stuff was made in sweatshops and stuff like that, and the material they're using is not the best, okay, or was as good as it used to be. I've heard a lot of people complain about Victoria's Secret, and you know, what happened here with this CEO making that remark was just the latest in a long line of complaints about Victoria's Secret just going downhill. So I think that this was a store that was, you know, on the way of getting, you know, of losing some of its appeal to shoppers and whatnot. CVS pharmacies are literally everywhere in the United States, which makes total sense since they are the biggest pharmacy chain in the country. The company is a subsidiary of CVS Health and has operated since 1963. The company's chains sell a number of goods from the pharmaceutical industry, including the counter drugs, cosmetics, and everything beauty-related, in addition to other general merchandise. But in recent years, CVS has followed other companies in closing several stores all over the country. They have also reported having lost nearly $421 million net for the fourth quarter of 2018. Bed Bath & Beyond. In '72, Leonard Feinstein and Warren Eisenberg left their management jobs and decided to open a special store together. Their first store was opened in New Jersey with the name of Bed & Bath. By 1985, it had about 17 stores operating. The name was changed in 1987 to its current brand name, and it went public in '92. The company chain continued to do well until it reached its peak in '99, making it $1 billion in annual sales. Sadly, finance experts predict that Bed Bath & Beyond is about to follow other retailers by going bankrupt after its stock decreased by over 61%. Abercrombie & Fitch. It operates about 1,049 stores and operates 3 brands, Abercrombie & Fitch, Abercrombie Kids, and Hollister Company. Back in the days, the company was known to showcase some pretty sexist ads, usually over-sexualizing young women. The chain of stores has made several changes since then and has turned away from these types of ads. However, it is believed that the company hasn't done very well in staying up to date with its market and has consistently gotten really bad press due to due to that, profits have decreased immensely over the years. Sounds like bad management there that caused that. Pier 1 Imports. First opened in 1962 in California. Back then, the company's name was still Cost Plus Imports, catering to the large hippie community of the time, selling mostly incense and love beads. Oh, that dated, huh? By 1996, the company had grown a bit, with 16 store locations opening across the region. But today, it doesn't seem like Pier 1 Import is doing so well anymore, although it looks like the chain's leadership has been working really hard to have some turnaround. Not much has changed for the positive. The Chinese home furnishing market and other cheaper items have made it really hard for the company to success lately. Another store, Walgreens, second largest pharmacy chain in the U.S. Walgreens has been established in North America for a while, since 1901. The company specializes in the pharmaceutical industry, selling wellness and health products, filling customers' prescriptions, providing information on health issues, and a small photo services. The company had about 9,277 stores in every state. However, after a number of risky decisions and purchases, Walgreens decided that it will be closing some of its stores in hoping to considerably cut costs in 2022. Outback Steakhouse. Outback Steakhouse is another casual dining chain that serves mainstream America food, but makes use of an Australian-themed branding. The food chain can be found in 23 countries around the world and has more than 1,000 locations. Because of the business's ever-changing nature, in 2007, Outback Steakhouse became privately held and worked on a stock purchase plan that would hopefully make things steadier. Yet, apparently the chain has been struggling for a while, as people have become more conscious about their health. The company now hopes to close a couple of stores in order to regain some confidence in the market. Applebee's. What the hell? Jesus Christ. Fucking neighbors, boy. Christ. What the hell are we doing in there? The American food chain doesn't have any specific specialty, as it sells mainstream dishes such as chicken, burgers, pasta, salads, amongst others. One characteristic that features all Applebee's is that each location is composed of a restaurant and bar area. Nevertheless, the company is known to have spent lots of money attempting to expand the menu and renovate certain restaurants, trying to attract new customers. Since 2016, the business has closed several stores. Applebee's, what can I say? When I eat there, not very often, it seems like they never give you enough. Okay? They make you feel like you're a health food nut. And what I mean by that is, you look at the menu, okay? And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, okay? But they put calories on the menu of what things are when you're eating them, okay? And it makes me wonder, these people like counting the calories when they put it on your plate. Are they giving you, because when I eat someplace, I like to eat at places where, you're going to get a lot for your money, like buffets or something like that. That's where I like to eat. Places like Applebee's or Ruby Tuesday, these kind of restaurants and stuff like that. I never really liked eating in them because, it seems like the prices are higher and they're stingy with the food, okay? And there's like a few restaurants that I've eaten at where I don't have to worry about that at all, okay? There's a Mexican restaurant right here in Bangor, Los Palapas. They always give you more than you can eat, okay, which is I'm not complaining. I usually, when I eat there, I spend about $20 plus tip, okay, and I end up having enough food there for, you know, to take home some for the next day. So you get a lot at that, and I like that kind of restaurant. But you eat it at this place here, and it's like you walk out of there and you're still feeling like you could eat more, okay? I don't like that, especially if you put down some money on that fucking item and you spend, you know, I feel like I just got ripped off here because they gave me a hamburger that looked big in the menu, but it's probably about that big around, you know, and it's like, you know, what the hell did you guys do to this thing? You shrink it? You take all the water out of it or something? You friggin' shrink it? I mean, Jesus. So, yeah, I don't like restaurants like that. Okay, I don't like that. You know, when I go into a place and I want to eat, okay, I want to eat. Okay, if you're a person that's counting calories, you can eat there too. If you want to get a lot of stuff, just split it in half, take the rest of it home, eat it the next day, right? I mean, that's all you got to do. You don't have to sit and eat the whole fucking thing in one sitting, you know, if you don't want to eat it all because it's, you know, there's a lot of calories if you eat the whole thing, right? Just eat half of it and take the rest home. It's a very simple thing, and it'll stick to your diet if you're on one, okay? Just ask for a box. All these restaurants will give you one, and take it home, you know, and you can heat it up later and eat the rest. But don't force everybody else that wants to eat like a bird and pay through the nose for it, okay? That's not fair to everybody else. Quiznos. Professional chef Jimmy Lombardos first opened Quiznos in 1981 with his business partner, Todd Disner. The sandwich shop became a favorite in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, known for its staple toasted subs with special dressings and some of the most unique recipes in the sandwich industry. Yet, something about Quiznos' business model failed to convince several investors. Unfortunately, they may have been right, since the company hasn't done very well with the increasing competition, specifically from companies such as Subway, Jimmy John's, and Firehouse Subs. TGI Fridays. First restaurant was opened by Alan Stillman all the way back in '65 in New York. When he opened, he hoped to cater to young people in their 20s and 30s who longed for a cool place where they could make friends and maybe even lovers. After purchasing a local bar and investing 10 grand, he opened TGI Fridays. Even though the place ended up being a success, today it no longer is. Unfortunately, reports show that people simply don't go to TGI Fridays anymore, resulting in many branches closing and a probable bankruptcy approaching. PetSmart. The first ever PetSmart store opened in 1987 in Phoenix. The chain's business grew quite well, with the chain deciding to go public in 1993. Today, the retail chain operates both in the U.S. and in Canada, specializing in the selling of all pet products, including food, accessories, furniture, a variety of pet services, and even daycare. Some stores also have animals for adoption or for sale, including a wide range of domestic pets. Even though the chain has gained a lot of popularity over the years, its competition might take the business to declare bankruptcy. Yeah, because you got Petco. There's another one of those places, right? Yeah, we got a Petco here. I think we had a PetSmart. I don't know if it's still here, but I think we had one. Academy. Never heard of it. Sports and Outdoors joined the retail market in '38 after two ambitious business partners bought an Army-Navy surplus chain that owned about 6 stores that were barely making any money. Even so, the two partners invested and attempted to create a small empire of sports and outdoor chains, succeeding for a number of years. But once companies such as Walmart, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Amazon joined the party, The Academy has been having a hard time making a profit. They have since closed more than 240 locations all over. David's Bridal. As the name suggests, David's Bridal is an American clothing company specialized in wedding dresses, but also other formal wear such as prom dresses. In terms of American bridal store chains, David's Bridal is the largest one. The company has over 300 stores across North and Central America. Since it was founded, it has been repurchased several times, particularly due to being on the brink of bankruptcy many times. It was announced that the company managed to emerge from being bankrupt, but unfortunately they are not necessarily completely out of the woods yet. Tom's Shoes, founded in 2006 by Texas entrepreneur Blake Moikoski. Tom's not only designs and sells shoes, but it also has apparel, eyewear, handbags, and even coffee. Never heard of it. Company's concept and the history behind Tom's Shoes are inspiring, as CEO Blake Moikoski has gone to great lengths to keep the company ethical while also attempting to make a considerable amount of profit. Unfortunately, no matter how comfortable and loved the company is, it has struggled to pay down its debt of 5 years of a $313 million investment. J.Crew Group is a specialty retailer that offers a wide selection of all genders as accessories and apparel. In 2016, the company chain operated over 450 stores in the U.S. The company also follows a number of different marketing methods, in conducting their business online through catalogs, retail factories, and more. But even that wasn't enough to save the company from getting into a $1.7 billion in debt, having a really hard time paying it back. Company's CEO resigned. At the same time, that sales continued declining, resulting in a really complicated business situation. Lowe's was first opened by Lucius Smith Lowe in 1921, who unfortunately passed away in 1940, with his daughter Ruth inheriting it all and selling the company to her brother. The company has focused on selling various goods over the years until it opened a food chain in 1954. Today, the company is involved in a huge lawsuit with Home Depot in order to avoid becoming bankrupt. The company made the mistake of purchasing Orchard Supply Hardware with the plan of competing against adversaries in the industry, resulting in the chain having to let go of 4,000 workers in addition to closing almost 100 stores. IHOP. For those pancake lovers out there, IHOP might be or has once been a favorite. The Pancake House is a multinational restaurant chain that mostly offers a breakfast menu and, of course, pancakes. The company chain has about 1,822 restaurants across North and Central America and some countries in the Middle East. I didn't know that. But after a long and successful run, IHOP hasn't been doing so well in the last couple of years. The company spent tons of money on marketing campaigns, which cost them a lawsuit with Applebee's and a continued decrease in sales. Kohl's, operated by Kohl's Corporation, is a department retail chain with about 1,150 stores in different locations in the U.S. Polish immigrant and visionary Maxwell Kohl founded the company in 1962, but was later sold to a group of investors going public in 1992. The company did so well that in 2012 it surpassed one of its biggest competitors, JC, becoming the largest chain in the entire United States, with the exception of Hawaii. But in recent years, stock issues caught the company unprepared, with sales beginning to drop almost instantaneously. Subway, one of the most known sandwich companies in the world, owning 41,512 locations in just over 100 countries. Because of its fast growth, the company achieved the titles of largest restaurant operators worldwide and biggest single brand restaurant chain. Amongst those 41,512 restaurants, at least half of them are in the U.S. But several Subway franchisees have been unhappy with the company in the last couple of years, with the food quality decreasing while prices increased. In fact, some stores have failed to stay open and had to call it quits. I gotta say, the Subway here in Bangor now, each Subway is a little different, okay, because they run by different people. But the one over here in Bangor where I go to, once in a while. The thing, yes, the quality of the food isn't at where it should be, especially the lettuce. And I know it's hard to keep lettuce fresh, but when you say you want lettuce on your sandwich and they pick through lettuce that's turned brown, you'd like to put it back, okay? Because I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that lettuce. It's probably been sitting there for 2 days and it's gotten bad. Okay, it doesn't take long for a lettuce to spoil, and so it's hard to get them to put fresh lettuce on a sandwich. And I think in any restaurant place, okay, or any sandwich shop or whatever. And I mean, they some places, I guess, have been complaining that their subways are not that clean. Okay, I've heard stories about that recently. I think the ones they're talking about are in the cities, the big cities, you know, like New York or something like that, where they have these problems here with competing with each other. You know, the one subway here competing with the other subway over there, and you know, for some reason it's, you know, it's not working out. Okay, and so these places, you know, they're customers have been complaining about the cleanliness of some of these restaurants and the quality of the food in some of these restaurants. And I have to say that, you know, like the one here, you know, some of the food looks fresh that they give in there, but you know, sometimes you know, like I said, the lettuce doesn't look fresh, or you know, the cheese doesn't look like it's you know, just been, you know, chopped and put in there. I mean, it looks like it's been sitting there. You know, especially you got the tuna section, and it looks like, you know, it's got like hard pieces along there where it's been dried out or something. You know, it just doesn't look like they're maintaining it while they're waiting for customers. And I don't know if it's because they don't have enough employees there, because, you know, the many times that I've been there, there's been maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 people that work in there at a time. Okay, sometimes they never, you know, like they have like cookies or something that they offer. Sometimes they don't have any in there. Okay, so they're not staying up, you know, on top of that. They should be on top of that all the time. I'm not saying it's so bad where I don't want to eat there, but there's times I've been in there where, you know, you could tell it's, you know, they could be better, they could improve here with that or something. And I realize that some things are hard to keep fresh. I understand that, you know, like lettuce and stuff, but they should always have a good supply of lettuce around to chop up. You know, if the stuff they have is starting to look old, you know, take and dump it and chop up some new lettuce. It only takes like, you know, 5 minutes, you know, to chop up lettuce to put in there. Okay, and just, you know, continue. You know, like say like lunchtime, you want to have new lettuce in there. Okay, dinner time, again, you want to have some new lettuce in there. You know, just rotate it, okay, because it does spoil fast. I mean, I buy a head of lettuce all the time, and I never get to eat through the whole thing because I don't eat it all the time. You know, I don't eat it round the clock. I mean, because that's basically how you got to eat lettuce. You got to buy it and chop it up, the whole damn thing, and eat it. You know, but like if you're a person or a salad eater all the time, then yeah, you'll never have that problem of seeing your lettuce go bad. But if you're not, okay, your lettuce isn't going to last very long, and it's going to spoil before you finish eating it all. And that's the thing I hate about lettuce, is that you can't ever eat enough of it to save it. Okay, so I think when it comes to running a restaurant that depends on that solely on making sandwiches, and it hinges on the stuff being fresh, you got to keep up with it, okay? Because you know, when customers come in there and you see the lettuce looks brown, you know, they may not want to come back, okay? You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, they need to stay on to top of that with it now. Okay, well that's all I can get through now. Of course, there's more stores in here that have problems. You know, it's like Cheesecake Factory here, and what's the other one? Just Forever 21 and Rite Aid and GNC and Ascena Retail. There's a whole bunch of stores here that are, you know, having rough times here. I have to think that maybe the pandemic probably contributed some to it. But of course, a lot of these stores, it sounds like they were having hard times even before the pandemic. And it seems like things have caught up to them to the point now where, you know, closing stores and even going bankrupt is their only option. You know, a lot of these stores have been around for quite a long while. I mean, they go back to the early 20th century, and now they're looking at bankruptcy. You know, it makes you wonder how can anyone play the stock market, you know, and buy stock in companies? I mean, what, you know, when they're all starting to go bankrupt, I mean, what the hell's going on with that? You know, how can they say, oh, the stock market's booming? Yeah, booming to get blown out of the water is what's going on. You know, you can't do it. Have a good company, or you know, have a good market and economy with a bunch of companies that are all struggling to stay there, keep their heads above water. I mean, how does that work out in Wall Street? You know, but who does really? Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So I'll suggest everybody to keep their ears open on the COVID-19 news and the local news. If you want to subscribe, comment, please do. And when I put up a video, you'll get a notification that I did. And just stay healthy. And I hope you have some good spring weather coming your way. So take care, everybody.